Morning meditation service. I'm going to do a call and response, and I hope you respond. Okay. Speak with the mouth of God. Love with the heart of God. Walk with the feet of God. Sing with the voice of God. Live in heaven. Here and now. Live the words of God. Never ever fear God. Merge with the mind of God. Feel with the love of God. Live in heaven, here and now. Live in heaven, here and now. Dance with the soul of God. Rock with the feet of God. Breathe with the air of God. Think with the mind of God. Live in heaven, here and now. Live in heaven, here and now. Hear the words of God. Never ever fear God. Merge with the mind of God.
Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by reading the ad I wrote this week that goes online each week. This is the ad for this week advertising this service. People aligning themselves with the life-transforming principles of unity are Karma Yogis. Simply understood, the difference between other yogas, disciplines, and Karma Yoga, is that the Karma Yogi does not renounce the world and draw away from the world into a monastery or a convent or an ashram. Instead, such a yogi lives a social lifestyle, works for a living, may or may not raise a family. Thus, the Karma Yogi applies all the spiritual practices that lead to the enlightened consciousness while also fulfilling his or her worldly obligations. And I got an email back from someone that said, "Stop pretending to know anything about yoga." It's kind of rude, don't you think? I got another email that said, "Yes, every Sunday you wear that, guru shirt and that pendant, pretending to be a yogi that you're not." So again today, which is what I've had to do my entire ministry, is I've had to quote other yogis and enlightened people because I don't get the respect I should get. So today I'm going to be quoting an authentic Karma Yogi who really has something to say. But this is a detailed, what you'll hear this morning is a detailed description of the discipline of being a Karma Yogi, which is what each of us here is really all about. Because we are in the world, we haven't renounced the marketplace life, but we are on the spiritual path, doing the spiritual practice and following the principles so that we will arrive in that state of enlightenment that we are seeking. So this is Baba Ram Das from his book, The Mirror, Polishing the Mirror, page 32, paragraph 3. All forms of yoga are ways of coming into union with God. Karma Yoga is putting all the activities of your life, work, relationships, service, toward consummating that union. How you go about your work in the world determines whether your work is a vehicle for your spiritual awakening or for getting more caught up in Maya, increasing the illusion of separation. Karma Yoga uses selfless action and service as a way of bringing your life into harmony with the One. I'll take this back again. I think this is a very detailed description of what we need to understand about the yoga we are involved with. All forms of yoga are ways of coming into union with God. Karma Yoga is putting all the activities of your life, work, relationships, service, toward consummating that union. How you go about your work in the world determines whether your work is a vehicle for spiritual awakening or for getting more caught in Maya, that's illusion, increasing the illusion of separation. Karma Yoga uses selfless action and service as a way of bringing your life into harmony with the One. This is an absolute truth that is shared by just about every master and true spiritual teacher about the action of our lives and it becoming selfless action. That is action without the thought of personal recognition or reward, but taking action in the focused awareness of doing it the best you possibly can. Of course, that goes along with the fourth agreement, always do your best. But what is being said here is that if we begin to become more and more involved in taking action and giving it the best we can, without any thought really of what that action is going to bring us, but you're simply in the moment with the actions of your life. And what happens in doing that, you're operating in a state that leads to meditation, because your mind is focused on just the doing, not the result of that doing, just the doing. And if you're just involved in just the doing, you are going to be moving in that state of now, and that state actually expands the awareness to recognize the sacred oneness of all consciousness. There are masters, many of them, walking around in that consciousness. Most of them writing or teaching or doing what they can to bring that awareness to the regular population, to everyone. So that's the process that we are involved in doing. I can say this, that yesterday I was going to officiate a memorial service. Going, I mean I traveled to Aurora, to a manor house where this particular service was going to take place. And I got there early, and I pulled into a parking lot off to the side of it, a large parking lot outside of another quaint-looking bakery. So I was going to hang out there for about a half hour before going into the manor and performing the service. So while I was sitting in my car, I noticed a number of people pull up and go into the bakery and pick up bakery goods. And one gal pulled up about 2 cars down from me. I could see her. She got out of the car and she came around to the passenger side where the windows were rolled down, and she had a discussion with these 2 girls, her daughters probably, who were about 6 years old, who she tried to convince that it would be best if they just stayed in the car till she got in the bakery, got what they came for, and returned. But they prevailed, so she has to open the doors. One is sitting on the front, one is sitting in the back. She opens the doors, releases the seat belts for each of them, takes them both by the hand, and walks them down to this bakery through this rather busy parking lot. Things were going on. And so she gets into the bakery, and about maybe 5-10 minutes later, she comes out holding a huge box, which has probably got a cake in it. I assume it's a birthday cake or something. And you can see the girls are elated, jumping up and down and everything. And she's trying to convince them to stay close to her as she goes back through this parking lot to her car. Stay by me. And they're trying to, but they're still elated, jumping up and down. And she finally gets back to the car. She's got this purse hanging over her shoulder. And now she's got to fish the keys out of her purse, keep the girls in tow, and get this box with the cake in it into the trunk of the car. And I'm watching this done, and she's doing it flawlessly. I mean, she's doing exactly what each moment requires her to do to perform this service of life. And I'm thinking to myself, she's totally involved in Karma Yoga. And she probably is involved in Karma Yoga a lot with the girls, and maybe she doesn't even meditate. But she is focused on the things she has to be focused on, which is, the case for many people, not just people who are mothers, but people that are extremely busy in the things they have to accomplish in their regular lives. But she did it with such finesse that I just had this feeling. It gave me a feeling of just looking at life and the people filling life in the world. Then maybe a half hour later, I walk into the manor. I'm still maybe 25 minutes early before the service is scheduled to start. And there are people gathering there, and most of them are dressed up, and they're meeting each other, and it seems as though some of them haven't seen each other in a long time, and they're carrying on, and they seem very happy to find each other again and have an opportunity to talk with each other. In the meantime, there's a gal who's setting out all of the great items on the menu that's going to be served for after the memorial service. And they have tables set up. It's not like a church. They have tables set up. Everybody's going to be seated at a table and listening to myself and those people that get up to speak on behalf of the lady who made her transition. And then there's a Native American flute player who's really extraordinary. His name is Eric Herrera. And there was going to be a planned moment of reflection in which he would just play the flute. So, but while I'm meeting people, I'm being introduced to people, but I'm observing them. I'm in a mild state of samadhi. I'm looking upon all these different people from different walks of life, and they all seem very present in the moments that they are living right there, which is what being a Karma Yogi actually only is. I mean, to be totally present in what is taking place and not adrift in your mind. And I suspect maybe there were some people there. I mean, I was in this mild state of samadhi, and I'm watching all the people of the world in this sacred dance of life. And there may have been a person or two, or maybe more than that. There was a gathering of about 50 people. So there may have been more than that who were somewhat disgruntled or not in a good mood or whatever, but I didn't see them, and or I couldn't notice them. But I'm thinking about this whole process of living effectively in the moment. And we make a big deal out of it, but I think that it doesn't take a lot of training of the mind to relax from the thinking and the pressure and the conditioning of the ego-centered world we were born into. I mean, this world in the outer-directed Western culture of ours is also goal-oriented. It's also the whole concept of getting ahead. From wherever you are, I guess you have to get ahead, because it doesn't seem that wherever you happen to be, and this goes for all the people that seem to have done very well in the world. They simply don't have enough, so they have to get ahead. And I think that's part of this conditioning we get as we grow up in this Western culture of ours. But I'm in this state of samadhi, and I'm looking at these people, and I'm feeling their presence as divine beings who are simply living their lives in whatever effective way they are defining life. And it's beautiful to see that. It's just beautiful. It's so uplifting and expanding, and you feel it from your heart. This is so good, so beautiful. And I can understand when the creation began, and I don't know, you look in the book of Genesis, God said, created all of these amazing things, the plants of the field, the animals, the sun, the earth, the water, all that, and then creating mankind in his or her image and likeness, creating them male and female, it says in the book. And he says, this is good. And that's what I felt. This is good. This is Ram Dass again sharing his insights into yoga. From his book, Polishing the Mirror, on page 32, paragraph 2, your karma is what you are given to do in your life based on past actions. Making a spiritual practice out of your karma, using it to go to God, is what brings karma into dharma, life into harmony with the spirit. From a spiritual standpoint, the intent and the manner of doing something are more important than the act itself. When you bring all of your life into harmony at every level, you act in accord with dharma. Another way to say, it is your doing God's will. Can we take this PowerPoint back again, please? Your karma is what you are given to do in life. Over the years, it's become so much more evident to me that there's a really powerful element of predestination in our lives. That's one of the points that I keep in the theme of the book that I wrote. And so it seems to me more and more we are given the lives we are living. Now that seems odd, and some people will, just step back from that strongly, because the idea of being a self-centered, self-motivating, self-sufficient person in life is a very powerful ego idea. And so when someone says it may not be that personal, it may be a lot more of the influence of our Creator. And this is, again, here, this may be what is being inferred. Your karma is what you are given to do in your life based on past actions, leaving the door open for the concept of reincarnation, that in the past you may have some actions you have to work out, but it could also just mean your life is given to you to work out, to find your way out of the illusion of cause and effect from a personal perspective, which would be your karma, to the awareness of dharma, the ideal that you are living in accord with the will of creation. And I say not the Creator just, but creation, because the creation is the Creator ongoing before our very eyes. To the degree we are in resistance to that and attempting to foist the illusionary concept of being a separate self-directing personage, the masters seem to think that's a really strong interference with happiness, harmony, peace, health, joy, love, honor, integrity, beauty, majesty, miracle. That's our calling, made in the image and likeness of the Creator. Your karma is what you are given to do in your life. How are you doing it? How are you performing your life? Are you consciously performing it, or unconsciously resisting so many things that you could be bringing into harmony, healing, and peace? Making a spiritual practice out of your karma, using it to go to God, is what brings karma into dharma, life into harmony with the Spirit. From a spiritual standpoint, the intent and the manner of doing something are more important than the act itself. When you bring all of your life into harmony at every level, you act in accord with Dharma. Another way to say, it is your doing God's will. And you'll hear that question a lot. I've heard it a lot over the years in the ministry. You know, what is God's will? What does God want me to do? I once saw a guest speaker, and I think it was an ARE seminar of some kind. And he was listed on there as a speaker. They had like 6 or 7 speakers. And he got up and he said, over the years I've heard so many people ask me, what is God's will? So I'm going to keep it short. God wants you to be kind. And he left the podium. It was like an amazing thing to do. I mean, honestly, a lot of these guys that are speaking, they're not necessarily fully enlightened themselves, but their egos are out there at stake. They want to put some stuff out that people are going to remember. But that's a beautiful way to state the will of God. Anyway, while I was at the memorial service, when it concluded, I had the opportunity to speak to the flute player, Eric Herrera, and he's a total Native American. His parents are Blackfeet Indians. And he said, I really liked what you said about being a channel for the divine intelligence. He said, because over the years, it becomes obvious to me that I'm just an empty vessel, just like my flute is an empty vessel, and God plays both of us. Beautiful way to say it. God plays both of us. And when you get to that place where you actually acknowledge the presence of God and the nature of God influencing your thinking, you have withdrawn completely from the ego-centered illusions that create the chaos in the world. It is not saying, see, some people actually think that in order to get on the spiritual journey fully, wholeheartedly, you have to renounce the world. And that's not really what, at least this yoga is saying. Some do. I heard someone say, incorrectly say to someone, it was secondhand repeated to me, that he said, well, I think Buddhism, and I was having a discussion with somebody Wednesday night, I think Buddhism tells you that you have to avoid getting involved with a family because it'll just take you out of your spiritual enlightenment. I don't believe that's true in any way, shape, or form, but people do, and I'm sure that it hasn't come down through the entire scriptures of Buddhism as that at all. But that's what people get out of it, and that's what people involve themselves with. Anyway, the morning at this memorial service, they wanted to, they had a microphone there, a handheld microphone, and they wanted me to use the handheld microphone, which I didn't, and I was glad because it inspired everyone that got up to speak on behalf of the deceased without a microphone. They were able to just speak to the crowd that was there, seated at these tables. And when it was completed, I had a couple people come up and say, what church are you with? And I said, well, I'm with the Unity Church in Boulder. And so they say, so you believe that life goes on and on and on? I said, yeah, we do. Oh, she said, that's really interesting. I might stop in sometime. And I said to her, well, it costs you $1,000 to get in on Sunday. No, I didn't. So Ram Dass had this to say as well. Can we take a look at this from the PowerPoint? This is probably the most insightful part of all of this right here from his book, Polishing the Mirror. It is not the outer form that changes. It is the nature of the inner being that fills the form. If you're a lawyer, you go on being a lawyer, but you begin to use being a lawyer as a way of coming to God. One form is no more spiritual than another. The essential work of developing a spiritual consciousness is quieting the mind and opening the heart. And we have this back again. This is it in a nutshell right here. I think this will dispel a lot of confusion people have about spiritual practice and doing yoga. It is not the outer form that changes. It is the nature of the inner being that fills the form. If you're a lawyer, you go on being a lawyer, but you begin to use being a lawyer as a way of coming to God. Oh, and by the way, I don't know why you chose lawyer, but that would be the hardest way to be a Karma Yogi. But it can be done. We have Nick in our church. He's an attorney, and he's on the path, and he's really clear about how he handles himself in the legal conditions. All right, so you go on being a lawyer, but you begin to use being a lawyer as a way of coming to God. One form is no more spiritual than any other. The essential work of developing a spiritual consciousness is quieting the mind and opening the heart. And this, of course, goes beyond your daily meditation, which should be something that all of you here in Unity are doing at least once a day. You know, sitting still for 20 minutes, a half hour, allowing the mind to quiet down and allowing them a refined awareness of your core being, your core God nature, to come into your consciousness. So, but it's not something that you just do once a day. The practice requires carrying that truth of quieting the mind and being open to the insight, the present moment guidance that reveals what in this moment is appropriate. Don't get anything else out of this talk. Think about this. What in the moment is actually appropriate? Do you believe that a person can become so filled with the harmony that comes from being God consciousness, can become so filled with that harmony, that joy, and that samadhi of God consciousness that in the moment you are awake to the still small guiding voice of spirit in any given moment. And in that moment, any given moment, you will be appropriate and you will still sustain your divine peace. I'm asking you to ask yourself, do you believe there are people capable of doing that? Because there are. I've met a few on the path. And I suspect many of those that we've all heard about, are, if they're not there, they're pretty close to being there. So that's our calling, to be karma yogis, not just when we sit in meditation someplace, but when we're in the world, in the marketplace world. And so people have asked me, and this is in our group work, people ask me, well, you know, what service are we to perform? What service would be the best to perform? And the highest service anyone can be performing is to be in that state of mystical peace of mind. When you're in a state of mystical peace of mind, living moment to moment in the awareness of the presence of God in every person, in every place, in every condition, when you're in that consciousness, you are adding peace to the collective awareness of all of humanity. So that's the highest and greatest service anyone can be performing. Along with that, you can be performing specific services that you feel guided to perform, because that would be service that was given to you when you were born, just as these sayings are telling us. You were given that service, yes. It might even be protesting something political. But you'll know, because it comes from the refined awareness within you, that this is right for you to do today or now. Is there another PowerPoint there? So we'll conclude with this, polishing the mirror. Another term for karma yoga is right action. In the West, the concept of right action is a difficult one to hear because it runs counter to our achievement and goal-oriented culture. In India, they have a very deep sense of doing one's dharma. From that view, it's natural to attune yourself to be in harmony with the laws of the universe. Your life is the part of you, is the part you play. You go from being the star of your own show to becoming an actor in the divine play. The Bhagavad Gita instruction to be unattached to the fruits of your labor actions is the key. Can we take this back again from the beginning? Another term for karma yoga is right action. In the West, the concept of right action is a difficult one to hear because it runs counter to our achievement and goal-oriented culture. In India, they have a very deep sense of doing one's dharma. From that view, it's natural to attune yourself to be in harmony with the laws of the universe. Your life is the part you play. You go from being the star of your own show to becoming an actor in the divine play. The Bhagavad Gita instruction to be unattached to the fruits of your actions is the key. So there it is. I mean, we were born into a culture that we grow up in the concept of being extremely important in the relationship to everything else around us. And we are the star of that show. And here, once again, we are being shown to step beyond that level of consciousness if you want to find true happiness, peace, joy, love, healing, harmony. If that's your goal, and you step beyond that and you become an actor. And in the Bible, Jesus says you become the servant of all. Something that runs, against everything in the limited thinking of the world. You become the servant of all it brings an image to us because of the movies of just being this obsequious character who is toadying, bowing, and carrying on and serving people at a table or something. But that's not what it means. It means to become an actor in the divine play, or to become the servant of all, is to become present in the moment in which you are living and becoming appropriate to what the moment actually requires, and not in your head, what can I get out of this moment? How can I manipulate the conditions and people here to serve my personal self-interest? Do you see the calling here? That's the calling, and nobody's pulling any punches in unity. There are people that can't handle the thought of it. I understand that. They're not ready for it yet. But that happens to be what we are about doing. So now we're going to meditate together. And you can start by taking a couple of deep breaths. As you release the breath, release any particular concerns that you might be carrying with you. See if they really are justified concerns. Make sure they're not something from the past that you feel guilty about, and see if you can be sure they're not something in the future that hasn't yet occurred. That gives you permission to be present right here, now, and relaxing or resting the thinking process, allowing the refined, intuitive, spiritual process to rise in you. And the first thing, and the whole purpose of it, that consciousness is saying to you, you are perfectly okay. You are perfectly okay, right here, right now. Accept the peace of knowing that. And you may facilitate your meditative process by using a mantra. You can just bring this particular mantra gently to mind. There is only one everything. Only one in you, in me, in everything we see. There is only God waiting for me. There is only one everything in you and me, in everything we see. There is only one, only God waiting for me. There is only one everything in you, in me, in everything we see. There is only God waiting for me. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space, let us go forth with a greater devotion to practicing the presence. For this opportunity in every moment, we give thanks. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. While we're preparing to do that, I just want to say to everyone who's watching this live stream, if you happen to be on our website doing that, you can scroll to the top right-hand corner where it'll give you the different ways you can donate now to Unity of Boulder. And certainly you should partake of that because you're tuning in, because you're seeking spiritual awakening, spiritual truth. And you'll only help the process of your awakening if you support it financially. So please, send something to Unity of Boulder. Everyone here can bring into their hands that gift they'd like to make to Unity of Boulder, and we can bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
Out to earth, the torch divine. We are the lights of the earth. Shine. Hold out to earth, the torch divine. We are the lights of the earth. Shine, shine, shine.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of Truth, the Spirit available to each of us, the Spirit that joins all of us. We dedicate this tithe to the victory of the Spirit of Truth. Amen. As usual, following our service on Sunday mornings, those of you that like to stay and have a discussion, it'll take place in the bookstore. There's a room right off the bookstore, an annex to the bookstore that has chairs set up in a circle. So you can just come on over to the bookstore and join us for a discussion in about 5 minutes. If you want to, you can grab a cup of tea and come on over. Don't fill it all the way to the brim, though, when you're coming over from Fellowship Hall to the bookstore. Unless you can manage that. If you are already enlightened, you can manage to fill it to the brim and carry it over to the bookstore without spilling it. Okay. To everyone, have a beautiful day.